an emergency landing near Ennis. Federal records show that the training jet made a forced gear-up landing near Ennis after they lost engine thrust during a practice approach. The accident report says the flight instructor had minor injuries and the pilot, Senator Sheehy, was not hurt. The crew was practicing an instrument approach to runway 16 at the Ennis Big Sky Airport when the engine dropped to zero thrust. Investigators say the jet was substantially damaged after the landing in an open field. Also following new developments this morning out of Flathead County, the Sheriff's Office is investigating a report of shots fired in a residential area north of Great Falls. North of Kalispell. Deputies responding to the 200 block of Dawn Drive just after 7 o'clock this morning. Detectives remaining on the scene as the investigation continues. Now, the Sheriff's Office says the scene has been secured and there is currently no known threat to the community. However, people in the area are being asked to avoid Dawn Drive and use alternative routes while investigators process that scene. Officials say more information will be released as it becomes available. In other major news tonight, a man accused of killing his grandmother in Great Falls is now facing multiple felony charges, including deliberate homicide. He could spend the rest of his life in prison if convicted. Christopher James Jenkins is accused of killing Lorraine Jenkins inside of their Great Falls home this past Friday. Court documents say Jenkins told police he choked and beat his grandmother before trying to clean the scene and conceal evidence. A Montana court found sufficient probable cause to move forward with 4 felony charges against him. Bond has been set at $750,000. Alcohol monitoring will be required if he's released. Beyond the Big Sky tonight, 17 Americans are heading to the United States after traveling on a cruise ship where the hantavirus broke out. Officials with the Department of Health and Human Services said yesterday one of the Americans had mild symptoms. The other has tested mildly positive for the Andes strain of the virus. A British citizen who lives in the United States is also traveling with the Americans. Both the American and British citizen rode on buses after the cruise ship anchored off Spain's Canary Islands yesterday. About 150 people were on board the ship when it arrived. The passengers wore blue protective clothing and masks. They first boarded smaller boats to take them from the cruise ship to shore. The American and British citizen will also fly to the University of Nebraska Medical Center for further evaluation. That medical center is home to the National Quarantine Unit. And 3 people did die on that cruise ship after contracting the hantavirus. 5 others were sickened. Health authorities say the virus is not like COVID-19. People should not worry that this incident will lead to another global pandemic. Well, let's bring it back here to the Treasure Estate this evening. This fall, the children's section of the Bozeman Public Library, it's going to undergo a transformation. Several major renovations across the library. The kids section has been kind of left untouched until now. Alex McCollum joining us tonight with the details from the Gallatin Valley.
Changes are coming to the children's section here at Bozeman Public Library, and coming this fall, this space is going to look a whole lot different.
We are worn a little threadbare and we've been loved a little bit to death. So things are just wearing out, and the way that we serve patrons and the way that patrons use the library has changed in the last 20 years. So we're really looking forward to building a beautiful, safe, and durable children's space in the library.
The library sees around 1,000 visitors every day, and half the materials that get checked out come from this section alone. Changes to kids' programming have meant the space doesn't exactly fit department needs anymore. On top of that, parent feedback has also called for changes.
Sound can bounce off of a lot of hard surfaces, and also if you have children who are in different age groups, the play spaces don't have line of sight to each other, and that's something that we really heard in community feedback, is that caregivers really want to be able to see both their little one and their big kid playing at the same time.
The new kids section will improve visibility between play spaces and prioritize updating the section for modern uses. New materials and furniture will also make it easier to keep clean. The project price tag sits around $1 million. Funding comes in part from the county interlocal agreement, which provides tax dollars to the library, but primarily from the Bozeman Library Friends and Foundation. Through Give Big Gallatin Valley, the foundation raised over $130,000, which will help fund this renovation.
I get to hear over and over how much people love the library, and particularly the children's space. Maybe it was a place that their parents took them and was really important to them, or they brought their own kids here. Sometimes now they're bringing their grandkids here. But it's a place that people feel very passionately about.
Renovations on the kids section are scheduled to start later this fall. Fundraising is still underway. Reporting in Bozeman, I'm Alex McCollum, NonStop Local.
Alex McCollum, thank you very much. Okay, let's talk weather on this Monday evening as we begin a new week together here in the state of Montana. And the week ahead, boy, is it going to be hot. Let's bring in weather forecaster Elena Margot joining us on this Monday evening. A really nice Mother's Day weekend. Things are going to be even a little bit worse over the next couple days.
Yeah, worse depending on who you ask. I guess if you were somebody who likes temps to the 90s,
True.
For me that's too hot. But I was talking to my grandma yesterday for Mother's Day.
Yeah.
She lives down in Florida,
Okay.
and she's like, oh, welcome to the club, you know, with these hot temperatures.
It's
I'm like, yeah,
90.
but Grandma, it's weird, because this is Montana.
Sure.
This isn't Florida.
90s should be like July and August. That's it.
Leave that to the summertime. It's not summertime in Montana, but it feels like it. So, of course, we will take a look at how warm things will get across the state. We're looking at things even hotter in the middle part of the week than what we're seeing today. So we'll take a detailed look at that. This is a look right now, a live look on our Stockman Bank City cam over the Missoula area. Green, green trees and blue, blue skies. That's the same story as we move into tomorrow. Very little radar impacts. A little bit of moisture between Red Lodge, Cody, and Rexburg, Idaho right now. Other than that, dry conditions for us and for our neighbors. Current wind speeds to around 30 miles per hour in the eastern plains of Montana. Very gusty conditions in the eastern plains. That has prompted some red flag warnings that we'll take a look at. Gusty winds to around 46 miles per hour in Glasgow right now. 26 mile per hour gusts right now in Helena, 29 in Billings. Over the last 24 hours, we saw wind speeds peaking this afternoon. We recorded 51 mile per hour wind gusts in the Jordan area today, so very appropriate to be under red flag warnings for that region. Temperature change since 6:06 last night, net negative by as much as 10 degrees in Havre, but fairly stable over the last 24 hours. That leaves us with current conditions still pretty close to 80 degrees in Billings, upper 60s along the High Line, and 70s elsewhere. We do have some fire weather watches to take a look at, as well as some red flag warnings for the rest of the evening. We do have some flood concern, although no active watches, warnings, or advisories due to this hot warm-up moving in. I'll be back with a longer look at that.
Forward to it, Elena. Thank you very much. Well, new at 6 tonight, with the days getting longer and sunnier, a lot of folks are going out on their bikes, right? But that can come with some unforeseen hazards. Yesterday, a cyclist was hit by a car in Bozeman. Good news, the cyclist is stable, but it's a reminder for everyone in Montana, you have to be careful. Ryan Toohill talking to experts tonight about how you can make that ride pleasant for yourself and for all the cars around you.
As the weather warms up and people start to hit the trails on their bikes, it pays to think about safety. And Aaron Wilson, the planning manager for the City of Missoula Public Works and Safety, says that sharing is caring.
We have a phrase called share the road, and that applies whether you're on a trail or on street bike lanes or wherever you might be riding or traveling. And that means being aware of your surroundings and what's happening, being aware of the rules and the laws.
And safety extends to your bike as well, as simple maintenance can help keep you upright, according to Alex Gallego, the owner of Missoula Bike Works.
Oftentimes people's tires are underinflated, and so I'll see them, riding around on a squashed down tire. And the problem with that, one, is it makes it more difficult to pedal, but also it oftentimes results in a flat.
Gallego also said that you should make sure your chain is properly lubricated and your brake pads have enough rubber on them before heading out. And Wilson added that just paying attention can make all the difference.
Providing some good recognition to other trail users, being predictable, and really just slowing down a little bit and recognizing that it gets busy this time of year. There's a lot of people out using those trails. We all just need to sort of take a breath, slow down, and be aware of what else is going on around us.
Wilson and Gallego also suggested having a headlight and a taillight on your bike so that you can see and be seen. And make sure you wear a helmet to stay safe. Reporting in Missoula for NonStop Local, I'm Ryan Toohill.
Let's carry on tonight. New information. Our Kendall Hudson speaking with the Montana Highway Patrol today about how drones are now playing a huge role in some of the most serious crash investigations. And while that technology might look simple from the outside, troopers say it's helping them reconstruct scenes faster, safer, and with more detail than ever before. So when you think about a crash investigation, You probably picture troopers working on the ground, but now the Highway Patrol looking at scenes from the air. Kendall Hudson joining us tonight with the latest.
Yep. And just going right into it, NHP is using the drones, as I'm about to show you guys, that here about a lot of why this is so important and why things like this need to be necessary. We'll go right into it. MHP uses drones to map out serious crash scenes, taking overhead photos that can later be turned into detailed 3D reconstructions. Troopers say the technology also helps keep investigators out of active roadways while limiting how long highways have to be shut down.
So now we can keep the road open, people can drive through, and the drone is flying up there, takes pictures when it's clear, moves along, takes another picture, just keeps taking pictures. We have some software that knits the photos together in what we call photogrammetry. And we can use that to have a three-dimensional scale diagram, so we can look at how things went up and down hills, how far they went, and do a lot of math and reconstruction from that point.
Sergeant Philip Smart says NHP has been using drones in investigations for about 8 years, and newer models are continuing to improve what investigators can see and document.
And of course it's beeping because it's worried that I'm close to things.
Scene, MHP says their focus is strictly on documenting what happened on the roadway, not surveillance or of private property.
And that is our Kendall Hudson joining us live in the studio tonight. So Kendall, did troopers say this technology actually has changed how quickly they can clear a scene like the one they were showing you?
Yeah, absolutely, Ben. They say before drones, investigators would have to physically walk through scenes, collecting measurements, which could take longer and could put them closer to traffic, but now they're able to collect much more of that information from the air.
Policing, even that is being affected by technology tonight. Kendall Hudson joining us live in the studio this evening. Kendall, thank you.
Yes, of course.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break here on NonStop Local. Don't go anywhere. Weather forecaster Elena Margot, full weather breakdown for you. What's the rest of your work week look like? Keep right here. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. With these hot days, it makes me want to jump into my favorite body of water. Too bad that's in northern Minnesota. Another favorite body of water of mine is Flathead Lake, although this lake still very, very cold for this time of year. I wonder if any moms did any polar plunging yesterday into Flathead Lake. Let's start by taking a look at local weather headlines on this Monday evening. Red flag warnings starting to expire in the eastern portion of the state as those winds start to calm, but we do have some fire weather watches to take a look at for the Havre area. and areas of southwestern Montana, including Butte and including Dillon. Tomorrow, hot temperatures back to about 20 degrees above seasonal normals in some of the region. And as we look ahead, Wednesday rain in first western Montana. Wednesday rain, western Montana. We do have some fire weather watches again to take a look at for Havre, areas of southwestern Montana on Wednesday. But until then, for the rest of the night tonight, these areas highlighted in pink under those red flag warnings. That's due to low humidity to 15%, gusty winds to 45 miles per hour. Outdoor burning recommended against in the eastern portion of the state for the rest of the evening tonight. Also with those gusty winds, a lake wind advisory for the Fort Peck Lake area through 9 p.m. this evening. That, of course, also due to those 45 mile per hour gusts moving through. Between now and 7 o'clock, still could see some gusty winds impacting the eastern portion of the state. Those winds phasing out and bugging our friends in the Dakotas as we move into tomorrow morning. Calm conditions for the north central portion of the state until tomorrow evening. In the late part of the evening, we could see Cutbank with 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts, at least in southwestern Montana, as we move into the afternoon. All right, those winds phasing into the eastern plains into the early part of Thursday morning. And of course, we will continue to keep you posted on those gusty winds as they move through. Latest drought monitor still tracking the worst conditions of all between Great Falls, Cutbank, and the Dillon area. Improvement compared to this time last week, at least in the northwestern portion of the state. Still statewide drier conditions than what we would like across the state of Montana. All right, for the rest of the evening tonight, low radar impacts. We do have a little bit of cloud cover that could precede some showers, but not until this time tomorrow night in southwestern Montana. Tomorrow, a bluebird day once again. A better chance for heavy rain to develop in the western portion of the state as we move into the afternoon and evening on Wednesday. That could bring some thunderstorm activity to areas like Great Falls, spanning into the eastern plains by the dinner hour. So this impacting us statewide with the best chance for rain again, hovering across the northern portion of the state. Moving into Wednesday night, Thursday morning, a slight chance for some mountain snow over Glacier Park, and then we clear across the state of Montana, bringing us more beautiful sunshine into the latter half of the week. Lows tonight dipping down to the 40s across the state of Montana, 47 degrees for Glendive, 38 for Butte, 38 for Cutbank. Tomorrow's daytime highs to the low 90s for Lewiston and Salmon, Idaho, upper 80s for Missoula, 80 degrees for our friends in Great Falls, 77 in Glasgow, 77 in Billings. Now, this time of year, again, temperatures should be about 20 degrees cooler than this in the Missoula area. So we do have some flood concern for south central Montana. No active watches, warnings, or advisories in play, but areas like the Yellowstone River and the Clark Fork of the Yellowstone River could see significant increase in flow rate as we move into the end of this week. Of course, we'll keep you posted on any flood concern as it moves in. All right, over the next 7 days, we finally see temperatures moving closer to seasonal averages by this time next week. Temperatures dipping down into the 40s and 50s in terms of lows, then rebounding to the 90s by Wednesday in Billings and Miles City. Cody and Livingston could also see upper 80s by Wednesday. A chance for Thursday rain in Livingston that could return by Sunday. Dry conditions forecast for the next 7 days in Cody, Wyoming. Missoula, Kalispell with wet western Montana weather moving in on Wednesday. Thursday with some of that lingering in the Missoula area. Lows and highs dipping down. Lows to the 30s by Thursday or Friday night, and highs also dipping down to the 60s, then 50s by this weekend. Helena, Great Falls, highs to the 80s and 90s over the next couple of days. By the end of the week, closer to seasonal averages, some areas still above normal. Butte and Bozeman with a chance for midweek rain and a chance for some electricity in the form of lightning in the air. Lewistown and Glasgow, a chance for rain, especially in Lewistown this weekend, or this coming weekend, after temperatures have warmed to close to 80 degrees as we move into Wednesday. Next 8 to 14 days, temperatures should be close to average statewide, slightly warmer in areas of eastern and south central Montana, with near normal precipitation trends in that same time frame. We'll be right back after this short break.
This is NonStop Local.
Welcome back, everyone. As athletes across Montana gather in Billings for the Special Olympics State Summer Games, students in the Treasure State classrooms are building a different kind of connection. Our Jordan Redmond takes us inside just a few of the unified champion schools here in the Treasure State that are building inclusion all year round.
From the art room here at Castle Rock Middle School, to the classrooms of Eagle Cliffs Elementary, to the hallways here at Central Heights Elementary. These are just a few of the unified champion schools across Montana that are helping students learn that kindness and inclusion can go a long way. Across Montana, unified champion schools are helping students with and without intellectual disabilities learn and grow together. At Eagle Cliffs Elementary in Billings, students say it's creating friendships that go far beyond the classroom.
I just like getting to meet everybody. Like beforehand, you wouldn't even know their names, and then you come into Unified and you know almost everything about them.
The program through Special Olympics Montana focuses on inclusion through sports, leadership, and school engagement.
It shows the kids all learn about inclusion and people who are different, kids with and without disabilities working together, showing kindness, working towards a goal like for Special Olympics for their sports, and it just kind of spreads throughout the school and makes everybody welcoming and accepting of each other.
At Castle Rock Middle School, students in Unified Art are connecting through creativity.
I thought it'd be fun to work with them and get to know all of them and just be included and spread the inclusivity.
Teachers say those connections help students feel more accepted both inside and outside the classroom.
The students in my class are more likely to go out and have conversations and make friends with kids who are not in our class.
At Central Heights Elementary, 4th graders Noemi and Norelli, along with 5th graders Sawyer and Mackenzie, designed shirts centered on inclusion and acceptance.
It wasn't just about the design, then they carried it back into their classroom and then into our hallways. It's been awesome.
Special Olympics Montana says creating those connections early can help build more inclusive communities later in life.
The more we can get this in the schools now and we can normalize this inclusion early on, it just makes for better society when they're adults, for all of us.
Reporting in Billings, Jordan Redmond, NonStop Local.
Jordan Redmond, thank you very much. Final break in the show. We're going to share the good with Elena after this. We'll be right back.
The team at NonStop Local is working hard to live up to its commitment to you. Get new information and weather any time of the day. Plus breaking news as soon as it happens, all to your phone. Just visit nonstoplocal.com or download the app at Google Play or the Apple Store to get alerts to news as soon as we get it. NonStop.
Well, finally tonight, folks, for Share the Good, we're focusing in on the Garden City, the local YWCA receiving a grant to help fight housing instability. The grant was awarded by Horizon Credit Union $8,500. It's meant to help support families experiencing housing insecurity. YWCA Missoula will use that donation to support the organization's Family Housing Center. That's an emergency shelter for houseless families. It runs jointly with Family Promise of Missoula. They provide safe, dignified shelter, case management, and around-the-clock support services to at least 100 families annually in Missoula, Montana. Pretty cool stuff.
That's
there.
amazing. YWCA has really good thrift stores that I
They
like
do.
to hit up on my days off.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's an awesome organization.
Good Mother's Day weekend?
It was a fabulous Mother's Day weekend. I wish I could have spent it with my mom and my
Yeah.
grandma's, but God bless the
Yeah.
telephone. Yeah. How was yours?
It was good. It was great. My wife felt very loved. I was in the garden for about 4 hours yesterday.
With
tilling
Ashley, or
and-
was she?
Oh, no.
She was kicking back?
Kicking back,
That's
hanging
good.
with the kids.
Good.
So, yeah, I looked pretty silly out there with my floppy
Well, you
hat
don't
and my-
look sunburned, Ben. Good job.
Thank you.
Somebody wore his
Yes.
SPF.
Thank you. Wear your SPF. Drink water.
Yes.
It's going to be hot.
And buckle up.
It's going to be
It won't last forever, though.
We'll be right back after this, folks.
Ben Weinman, Kathleen Dozier, and Elena Margot, bringing you the content that connects our community. You're watching NonStop Local Montana at 6:30.
It's rough right now, you know what I'm saying, with the economy. Like I said, we don't know how it's up and down. We don't know how it's going to go.
My normal fill up, usually around 600 to 700. Now you're talking about 1,000 to 1,200.
Man, it's been ridiculous, man. Ever since Trump said that the gas prices was going to go down, they've been going up. We just trying to figure it out. It's hard out here, man.
It's hard out here. Good Monday evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us here on NonStop Local. I'm Ben Weinman. It's 6:30. It means it's time for our 360 story. Tonight, we're taking a look at something that impacts many, if not all of us. It's gas prices. And now, the price of gas nationally, it's been rising at a rate that is really hard to miss. Since a year ago, the average price per gallon has gone up from just over $3 to just over $4.50. That's up by about $1.38. Meanwhile, the last month, the price of gas grew by almost 40 cents per gallon. This comes at a time when ExxonMobil has reported net income of $4.2 billion, a 42% drop from a year ago. Chevron's $2.2 billion net profit, a 37% drop year to year. And within our treasure states, people experiencing pain at the pump, although less than it is being reported nationally. Prices have climbed nearly 14 cents in just the past week, now pushing right up to $4.48 per gallon. That is up from $3.16 just a year ago. Here's one truck driver in Billings talking about those prices going up.
I just left West Virginia. It was $6.99 a gallon. We were hoping to get cheaper prices over here. It ain't much of a difference. I'm probably spending round trip about almost $2,000 a week.
Gas prices being what they are, folks, we took to Facebook tonight. We wanted to ask if you were changing your driving habits here in Montana. Well, one viewer said they're not changing much, just maybe combining more errands into one trip instead of multiple. Another saying, of course, and that they're combining trips, walking, carpooling. You get the idea. One person tells us, nope, with kids in sports, they say they're on the go every night and budget for summer months. And while this person has some advice for that, saying proper tire inflation, it goes a long way. Finally, one viewer puts things in perspective by writing, went to Seattle and saw their gas prices. I'm okay now. That makes sense. A little bit more expensive in the state of Washington. But gas prices are typically affected by a wide range of factors that start from gas production itself to go outside factors like the weather or the economy. So let's break down how we actually calculate those gas prices. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, the amount of gas available naturally has a major impact on those prices. That includes the amount of gas being produced as well as what it's being stored. However, things outside of the gas itself could have major impacts as well. Severe weather like hurricanes such as Katrina and Rita, they've disrupted production as well as extreme cold weather events here in the U.S. In addition, during periods of economic growth, there's an increased demand for goods and services that may increase natural gas consumption. Finally, other types of fuel and their prices can also influence gas price as they compete against one another. However, this current rise in gas, it's really closely tied with the ongoing war in Iran, which is currently blocking boats from moving through the Strait of Hormuz. As of now, very few shipping containers are chancing it in the Strait of Hormuz. That's despite the United States saying it would try to protect vessels from Iranian attacks. Some experts say gas could top $5 if the strait remains closed next month. President Trump also recently said he is rejecting Iran's proposal to reopen that strait. At the same time, the president praising a move by the United Arab Emirates to exit OPEC, saying it could help bring down gas prices amid those volatile energy markets. Now, these high prices of gas just don't affect what you pay, but also impact stretches into all aspects of our lives. Here's one Montana mom talking about that.
It certainly feels like we are spending way more on groceries than we ever have in years prior. So it's kind of discouraging and hard. As soon as tragically the girls' school, was bombed in Iran, we were like, okay, well, I guess we better go fill up our cars with gas because gas prices are going to go up. And then from there, everything goes up.
In addition to gas and groceries, high gas prices can affect things like travel and tourism, which of course much of our state's economy relies on. Now finally, this may be part of a larger energy crisis affecting the world right now. According to the International Energy Agency, we are currently in the midst of a global energy crisis, one largely brought upon by the conflict in the Middle East, that of course has disrupted global markets. And there are some countries working to conserve energy through different measures initiated by their government, like encouraging remote work, limiting AC use, and promoting public transit. Now, just today, the U.S. is taking their own steps to try to address these issues, the president making an announcement on the idea of temporarily suspending the tax on gas. Here he is talking about it.
How long are you going to suspend that tax for?
Till it's appropriate, yeah.
Mr. President,
it's a small percentage, but it's still money.
This possible suspension only averages out to about 18 cents a gallon, making it a little, but not a lot of relief. It leaves the question up in the air. How long will this pain at the pump continue? Folks, that's going to do it for our 360 report on this Monday evening. But don't go anywhere. After the break, Elena Margot prepping you for the weather and the week ahead. And then Sean Rainey joining us from the SWBX studios. It was a very busy weekend across Montana sports. Keep right here. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's talk local weather headlines. Red flag warnings expiring by 9 o'clock, but we'll be live again tonight at 9 and 10 to keep you posted on if those red flag warnings are extended. Hot, about 20 degrees above average in some areas like Missoula. And as we look ahead, Wednesday rain to impact most of the region. Fire weather watches in play for Wednesday afternoon and evening in Havre, Dillon, and Butte, America. Meanwhile, those red flag warnings still in play through, again, 9 o'clock this evening due to low humidity to 15%. Winds gusting to 45 miles per hour. Outdoor burning in that region recommended against. A lake wind advisory in place for the Fort Peck Lake area due to those gusty winds through 9 o'clock as well. Putting our maps into motion again, 20 to 30 mile per hour gusts possible in the eastern portion of the state over the next couple of hours. We do start to see calming conditions when it at least comes to wind. Surely calm conditions on our radar as well. Into the late part of the evening tomorrow, could see 25 mile per hour gusts developing surrounding Cut Bank, the Rocky Mountain Front, and in Browning. Southwestern Montana in the afternoon on Wednesday, starting to see gusty winds as well. Winds moving in and really impacting the eastern part of the state as we also see wet weather moving in Wednesday into Thursday. So we'll keep you posted on that dicey pattern as it approaches. Drought monitor as of late still picking up on the worst conditions between Cut Bank, Great Falls, close to the front itself, and Dillon, improving conditions in the northwestern portion of the state compared to this time last night. Radar picking up on very little between now and tomorrow morning, waking up to widespread sunshine. Afternoon and evening brief showers possible between Dillon, Butte, and Bozeman tomorrow night, but it's not until Wednesday afternoon that we start to see some heavy rain developing between Glacier Park and Great Falls. Lightning and thunder possible with some thunderstorm activity moving through. Eastern plains seeing that wet weather by dinner time and a chance for some overnight snow potential in Glacier Park. The Mission Range could see a little bit of that snow, but again, we'll keep you posted because that would have to move through at the right time and of course impact our mountains for any snow to actually fall or accumulate. Dry conditions moving through again into Thursday, Friday. Lows tonight to the 40s for Great Falls, 43 in the Gallatin Valley, 43 as well in Glasgow, 47 for Billings. Tomorrow's daytime highs to the 70s in the eastern portion of the state, 80s for Helena and Bozeman, close to 90 in Missoula. Over the next 7 days, Billings and Miles City warm into the 90s by Wednesday, 70s after that and into the weekend. Hot weather persisting in both Billings and Miles City. Livingston and Cody seeing daytime highs also warmer than they should be. We should be in the 50s and 60s. So by this time next week, most of us cool down to something close to that. Midweek precipitation impacting western valleys could last into Thursday in Missoula. Drier conditions for Great Falls. A chance for Wednesday wet weather in the Helena area. A chance for Butte and Bozeman to see daytime highs cooling off as soon as Thursday, Friday in that southwestern portion of the state. Lewistown and Glasgow closer to the 50s and 60s by this time next week as well. Next 8 to 14 days close to average, both in terms of temperature and precipitation. We'll be back with a whole lot of sports after this.
from the SWX Sports Studio. This is SWX NonStop Local Sports.
Happy Monday, everyone. Hope you all had a great weekend, especially all the moms out there. On the show this evening, we're going to be talking about recruiting violations, athletes of the year, and get you all caught up with the high school track and softball happenings from the weekend. So let's dive in, and we're still several months out from high school football, but we do get there with the defending state champion Glacier Wolfpack. They're going to have to start the campaign without their head coach on the sidelines. Here's the latest story on that. That's because Glacier head coach Grady Bennett has been suspended for the first 2 games of the year by the Montana High School Association. The penalty comes as a result of an MHSA ruling that he committed a recruiting violation following a formal protest by Big Fork High School, according to the MHSA. The violation broke the association's bylaws, which prohibit schools or school representatives from encouraging students to transfer for athletic reasons. Bennett will miss Glacier's season opener against Billings West on August 28th and September 4th matchup against Bozeman. The Wolfpack are coming off a perfect 12-0 season and their first Class AA state football championship since 2014. Meanwhile, Glacier High School issued their own statement in response to the ruling, saying in part that, quote, Glacier High School respects the MHSA and their governing body, but still disagrees with the ruling and outcome of the hearing. Coach Bennett was contacted by a student who lives in the Kalispell School District and was registered to start classes at Glacier High School during spring semester 2026. The student initiated and requested the transfer based on their desire to participate in one of Glacier High School's unique academic program offerings that was not available at their current school. It is reasonable to expect the school to communicate with families prior to the first day of attendance about programs, and this communication is unclear in Section 17. Glacier High School looks forward to working with MHSA in the near future as they work to improve the language of Section 17 in order to educate all coaches and programs throughout the state. Now, obviously, this is a gray area and something that has been happening and been talked about a long time in the state of Montana, so we'll have to see, how things play out and maybe get things a little bit more tight and narrow as we move along. All right, we're going to continue today with the highlights, and that is the top 10 Midland Roundtable Athlete of the Year finalists that we're bringing you out of Billings. And today's male nominee is a 3-sport athlete from Billings Central, and as our Johnny Day tells us, he has a certain hobby that might just surprise some people.
The game of chess is a complex one that not a lot of people understand, but it's a game that Billings Central's Howie Martin likes to dabble in when he's not competing on the gridiron, the baseball diamond, or the hardwood.
My friends kind of all play chess, and we always play against each other and have a little fun, and I've kind of become a little bit obsessed with it. So
Martin says he plays the game almost every day, and if he's as good at chess as he is at baseball, basketball, or football, then all of his friends are in a world of trouble.
Howie Martin!
The 3-sport standout of an athlete has accomplished something not many high schoolers can say they have done. Martin has played in and has won state titles in football, baseball, and basketball with the Rams.
I think the goal at every start of the season is to win the state championship, and I've been fortunate enough to be on 3 state championship teams in 3 different sports, and that's been pretty special. But then there's also ones that have got away from us that we would like to have back.
One of those that got away would be when Martin and the Rams fell short of a repeat state title on the gridiron last fall, finishing runner-up in a heartbreaking loss to Frenchtown. But that loss eventually led to one of Martin's favorite high school moments, when he and the Rams took home gold in his final season on the hardwood.
Every day we were just so ready to play and so bought into what needed to be done, and it was super fun, and I'll forever cherish that moment.
Playing 3 sports and playing them well is not easy, but Martin also says that each sport taught him lifelong lessons.
The more you play on different teams, the more camaraderie you have with people, it really builds you up. And
Martin is still in his senior season on the baseball diamond for the Rams, but he has decided to give up basketball and baseball after high school and will play football at Montana Tech next fall. Howie Martin, 2026, Midland Roundtable Athlete of the Year finalist. In Billings, Johnny Day, SWX.
All right, thank you, Johnny. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll recap the weekend happenings on the track and the high school softball diamond.
Download at Google Play or the Apple Store.
Welcome back. All right, we're going to get out on the track now. The KLH Memorial Track Meet took place in Missoula at MCPS Stadium over the weekend, so let's get to some of the action. We'll get started with the girls' 100-meter hurdles, and the reigning champ from Loyola Sacred Heart, Allison Gamma, did her thing as she's going to grab first place for her strong showing. Boys' 100-meter dash now, and how about another member from Loyola, Owen Oliver? He's going to get first place as he runs an 11.42 second dash there. All right, let's go to some jumps. Gamma, the reigning champ, in the high jump, getting up and over 5 feet 4 inches. She grabs her second first place finish of the day. Another reigning champ, this time in pole vault, Conrad Zava Krings, vaults 11 feet, the top vault of the day. And in boys pole vault, superiors George Hansen clears 13 feet for first. Girls long jump, Broadwater's Caitlin Noyes jumps 17 feet, 10 3/4 to grab first. And what's better than 2 top finishes? Well, how about 3? Allison Gamma leads Class B in the 300 hurdles easily, takes that one in 45.14 for first place. And then finally, boys 400 and Conrad's Ledger Martin. He's got the top 400 time for a reason, stumbles out of the blocks but doesn't miss a beat, 49.87 seconds to take home first. All right, now let's talk some high school softball, get you caught up on all the happenings from the weekend. Josh Dugan, Dominic Delfidio, and DJ Bauer bringing you all the highlights. Fellas, take it away.
The battle for Electric City softball bragging rights went down Friday with CMR and Great Falls squaring off on the diamond in their first crosstown meeting of the season. CMR hit the plate first as they were the visitors, and they wasted no time getting going on offense. Leadoff hitter Signe Hansen drilled one to left center field, and it appeared to be a home run, but was called a ground rule double. She would come around to score on a 3-run bomb by Miley Adams, who belted one to right field, and CMR wasn't done yet as Riley Mars hit a moonshot of her own to make things 4-0 in favor of the Rustlers after the top of 1. We'll have more from Mars and Adams later in this one. In the bottom half of the first, Great Falls bounced right back with a leadoff double by Drew Swingley, and the Bison weren't done yet as Ava Newmack got in on the home run parade with a 2-run deep ball of her own to make things 4-2 after the first frame. The Bison got another one back in the bottom of 2 after Swingley hit a line drive to left field, and that deflected off the glove of the Rustlers left fielder and went over the fence for a de facto home run to cut the deficit to 1. Top of the third now, and Mars was at it again as she blasted a solo shot out of the park to extend the Rustlers' lead, and CMR would tack on another in the frame with a Emma McGraw RBI double to make things 6-3. The barrage of CMR homers continued in the top of the fourth, with Adams crushing one to deep center field for her second homer of the day to put the Rustlers up 7-3. And in the top of the fifth, Mars sent one to Mars with an absolute bomb to left center field for her third home run of the day to put the Rustlers up 5 runs. But The Bison had answers. In the bottom half of the frame, Numac joined the multi-homer club with her second blast of the day to cut into the deficit and keep Great Falls in striking distance down 4. Fast forward to the bottom of the 6th, and the Bison bats caught fire with a leadoff double by Kinsley Reeves, followed by back-to-back RBI singles by freshman Nita Numac and Landry Moog to make things 8-6. The Rustlers got back-to-back strikeouts after that, but the Bison put together a 2-out rally. Chloe Nash would reach on a single and advance to second, which brought Swingley to the plate with a runner in scoring position, and she'd bring Nash around to score to cut the deficit to 1. CMR intentionally walked Numac to load the bases, and Avery Rains played the role of hero in the clutch with a single to center field that brought home a pair of runs, and that 2 RBI knock would prove to be the difference as Great Falls held CMR in check in the final frame to pull out the 9-8 come-from-behind crosstown victory. Reporting from Great Falls, Josh Dugan for SWX.
We're just a few weeks away from the state BC softball tournament, and 2 teams hoping to be competing for a state title in action this weekend, with the Three Forks Wolves hosting the Troy Trojans. Troy looking to snap a 2-game losing skid, while Three Forks looks to extend their 2-game winning streak. First and only meetings of the season between the Trojans and Wolves on what was a beautiful day for softball in Three Forks. Game 1 was dominated by the Wolves, and they wasted no time jumping on the Trojans. Cameron Rios sends one back up the middle. That'll bring in 2 runs. Rios with a 2-hit, 3 RBI day in Game 1. Then it's the pitcher Macy Church knocking one into center. That'll bring in another run as Three Forks scores 14 in the first 2 innings. 3 of those runs coming on this Kinley Feliciano 3-run homer that goes out of frame because it dings off the car. Luckily, that should blend in with the yellow paint. Then it's Haley Smith deciding to join in on the festivities. Her 2-run shot ends the game as Three Forks wins Game 1 14-4. On to Game 2, that was led off with a defensive gem from Troy's Kirsty Jelsad, who makes a diving grab at second. One more time in slow motion, the full extension grab, putting momentum in the Troy dugout because that got the Trojan bats going. Ellie Borgman gets a hold of one, but unfortunately that's to the deepest part of the yard, but that's still good enough to bring in a Trojan run. Then there's a runner on for Ainsley Hutron, who smacks one in the left. Another run comes in to score, and after trailing 6-0, the Trojans have tied it. But here come the Wolves. McKenna Ewan flares one in the right. That finds its way down, and Three Forks jumps back out in front. But Troy puts up a 5 spot in the bottom of the 5th. A wild pitch allows Olivia Hall to score, and the Trojans regain the lead. After giving up the lead on the mound, Nova Urban regains it at the plate with this RBI triple as the Wolves score 12 runs in the final 3 innings to win a shootout 18-13 and complete the sweep over Troy. Reporting from Three Forks, Dominic Del Fidio, SWX.
A picturesque Saturday in Beaverhead County is just perfect for some high-stakes high school baseball. It's a critical game for state tournament seeding as the top 2 teams in the Central Division, Dillon and East Helena, do battle. Getting that top seed and avoiding the state play-in game is all important, and the winner of this one is in the driver's seat to do just that. And the driver's seat is where the Dillon Beavers have been all season. They're on the board first rather uniquely. First a successful double steal, then a balk to bring the runner home from third and take a 2-0 lead in the first. Hey, whatever gets runs across the plate. And it continues in the second frame. That may be a ground out for Cohen Hartman, but it's also an RBI. Dillon now leads 3-0. In fact, all 5 of their first 5 runs scored come on something other than a hit. That's baseball for you, but it's also good enough when Logan Fox is dealing on the mound. 5 innings of 2 hits, 7 strikeout ball for the sophomore. And with a chance to walk it off early, the Beavers make their move. Fortuitous bounce off the bat of Will Hansen gets a big inning in motion for Dillon, and all it takes is a little blooper into shallow center by Andrew Bartlome to walk it off in run rule fashion. Dillon dominates East Helena 10-0 with a 5-run 5th inning. They stay unbeaten at 12-0-1 and can cement their spot at state with a win over Townsend on Monday. In Dillon, DJ Bauer, SWX.
All right, thanks, fellas. Kind of crazy that we're only a couple weeks away from putting a bow on the entire 2025-2026 high school sports season. Have a good night, everyone.
Get news and weather anytime on NonStopLocal.com. We're on it. Ben Weinman, Kathleen